3 billion people are online right now. You can message anyone on Earth in seconds. You have more ways to connect with more humans than any generation in the history of our species. And yet somehow, right now, loneliness is at the highest levels ever recorded. Doctors are calling it an epidemic. Scientists are comparing it to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. And the obvious answer, that screens replaced real connection, is completely wrong. The real answer is stranger, older, and it changes everything about why modern life feels the way it does. Because the problem is not that you are too disconnected. The problem is that your brain was only ever built to know exactly 150 people, and everything beyond that number is breaking it. In 1992, a British anthropologist named Robin Dunbar was studying primates and noticed something strange. The size of a primate's neocortex, the thinking, the social, and the relationship tracking is the part of our brain and directly predicted the size of the social group that primate naturally lived in. Bigger brain relative to body size meant larger stable social group. The math was clean and consistent across dozens of species. So Dunbar did something obvious. He applied the same formula to human brains, and the number he got was 150. Not approximately, not roughly, but exactly 150. That is the maximum number of meaningful social relationships the human brain can actively maintain at one time. Beyond 150, the cognitive machinery starts breaking down. You can remember more faces, you can learn more names, but you cannot track the debts, the alliances, the histories, the emotional states, the trustworthiness of more than 150 people simultaneously. The brain simply was not built for it. Here is what makes Dunbar's number extraordinary. He did not just find it in a formula, he found it everywhere. Hunter-gatherer bands across Africa, South America, and Australia consistently group at around 100 to 150 members before they naturally split into two groups. Roman military units called centuries were designed around 80 to 100 fighting men plus support. 150 threshold where everything soldier could personally know every other soldier. Hutterite communes, religious communities that have been farming communally for centuries, have a strict internal rule. When a commune exceeds 150 members, they split and found a new one. They discovered this through centuries of lived experience long before Dunbar put a number on it. A study of Gore-Tex factories found that plants with fewer than 150 workers required no formal management hierarchy. People simply self-organized because everyone knew everyone. Once a plant exceeded 150 workers, it became socially unmanageable and required layers of management just to function. The number keeps appearing. In military history, in religious communities, in corporate structures, in indigenous tribes on opposite sides of the planet with zero contact between them, always 150. Always the same threshold where human social organization either holds together naturally or starts to fracture. To understand why, you have to go back to the world this brain was built for. For 300,000 years, your ancestors woke up every morning inside a group of roughly 150 people. And in that group, something remarkable was true. You were known not as a username, not as follower count, not as a job title, but you were known as a full human being with a history, a reputation, a set of relationship, and a role that only you filled. If you were the best tracker in the group, everyone knew it. If you told stories that made people laugh around the fire, everyone knew it. Your status was not something you had to perform for strangers every day. It was built slowly over years inside a community that watched you grow up, watched you succeed and fail, and held your entire identity in its collective memory. You belonged automatically, not because you earned it every morning, but because you were a known member of a known group and that membership was the foundation of your existence. Your brain evolved to track 150 people the way a database tracks records. It knows who owes whom a favor. It knows who cannot be trusted with food. It knows who is reliable in a crisis and who falls apart. It knows the histories, the grudges, the alliances, the romantic entanglements, the social debts of 150 individual human beings simultaneously. And this tracking was not a hobby. It was survival. In a world without laws or police or written contracts, your only protection was your reputation inside your group and your ability to read the social dynamics accurately. Getting it wrong could get you ostracized. Getting ostracized from a 150-person tribe in the prehistoric wilderness was effectively a death sentence. So your brain became extraordinarily good at social tracking. It treats social information as survival information because, for 300,000 years, that is exactly what it was. Now, look at your life today. You have hundreds of contacts in your phone. You follow thousands of people online. You consume news about the social and political dramas of 8 billion strangers. Every morning your brain wakes up and starts processing an avalanche of social signals from people it was never designed to track. Someone posted something provocative. A public figure said something outrageous. A stranger on the internet said wrong about something. Your ancient social tracking system fires up and starts calculating. Should I respond? Is this person a threat to my group? What does my tribe think about this? Who is with us and who is against us? The system runs exactly as designed. The problem is it was designed for 150 people, and you are pointing it at 8 billion. The result is a specific kind of cognitive exhaustion that modern psychology has been struggling to name. You are not simply tired. You are socially overloaded. Your brain is attempting to run tribal calculations on a scale that is 10 million times larger than anything it was ever built to handle. And because it cannot complete those calculations, it defaults to the only strategy it has. It simplifies 8 billion complex human beings get sorted into two categories. My tribe and not my tribe, people who agree with me and people who are enemies. This is not stupidity. This is not moral failure. This is a 300,000-year-old social operating system encountering a problem it was never designed to solve, and falling back on its most primitive subroutine, social media, made this catastrophically worse. Not because screens are bad, but because social media gives your brain exactly enough social signal to trigger the tribal tracking system while providing none of the actual tribal connection that system is searching for. You see a face. You learn a name. You follow their story. You watch them succeed and fail. You feel concern when something bad happens to them. You feel joy when something good happens. The ancient circuitry fires as if this is a tribe member, but it is not. You cannot ask them for food when you are hungry. They will not notice if you are struggling. There are no actual stakes, no actual history, no actual mutual obligation. Your brain has been fooled into spending its 150 relationship slots on parasocial ghosts. Influencers, podcasters, YouTubers, celebrities. People you feel you know, but who don't know you exist. And while those slots are full of ghosts, the real humans in your physical life get whatever cognitive bandwidth is left over, which is increasingly very little. The loneliness researchers did not expect to find what they found. In survey after survey, the loneliest people are not the ones with the fewest social media connections. They are often the ones with the most, because the number of connections is not the variable that matters. The human brain does not run on connections. It runs on belonging, and belonging requires being known, truly known. Not as a profile, but as a person with a history inside a community that remembers you. You cannot download that. You cannot follow your way into it. You cannot accumulate it through likes or subscribers or comments. It only grows slowly inside a small group of people who have known you long enough that your name alone carries a whole story. Here is the hardest part of all this to sit with. The world that your brain was built for does not exist anymore. There is no tribe of 150 waiting for you. The agricultural revolution 10,000 years ago began the process of scaling human societies beyond the tribal threshold. Cities accelerated it. Global communication finished the job. You were born into a world that had already far exceeded the social scale your brain can process. And nobody told you that. By the way, the anxiety you feel when you check your phone, the exhaustion you feel after scrolling news for an hour, loneliness you feel in a crowded room, the rage you feel at strangers on the internet, these are not character flaws. These are not signs that something is wrong with you specifically. These are the symptoms of a prehistoric brain encountering a social environment it was never equipped to handle. You are not broken. You are running ancient software in a world that changed faster than evolution could follow. The loneliness is not weakness. The overwhelm is not fragility. The tribalism is not ignorance. They are the predictable outputs of a system doing exactly what it was designed to do in an environment it was never designed for. And knowing that does not fix the world. But it might be the first honest thing anyone has told you about why it feels the way it does. Your brain is not failing you. It is looking for 150 people it can truly know in a world that keeps handing it 8 billion strangers and calling that connection. And somewhere underneath all the noise, it is still waiting to find its tribe.